Hi everyone. So I've been asked recently how to square up a block. So I've recorded this tutorial for you to show you exactly how to do that. So let me switch cameras so that you can see what's on my cutting table. So we've got our block here. Now this is quite a small block, but this works for any size block. The same principle applies. You need a square ruler. This is where these come into their own completely. I never use square rulers for cutting squares, but I do use them for squaring up blocks. And we've got a rotary cutter. This is a 60mm rotary cutter, just in case you were wondering what size this was. So we've got our block here. Now this I want as a finish size of 7.5 inches. So whatever your finish size of block is, that's where the calculation that you start with. So I know that I want this to finish at 7.5 inches. So when I put my little 1/4 inch binding on, that makes just a little, it's going to end up just as a little mug rug for this particular piece. But I've been practicing some free motion quilting designs on it. So we're going to take our ruler, and if you know what your finish size of, then just divide that in half. So for my purposes, half of my 7.5, so you can see that that block will end up at about 7.5 inches. Half of that will be 3 3/4. So that's the figure that we want to concentrate on for now. So we want to get our 3 3/4 mark, or whatever your half measurement is. So if you want an 8-inch block, you want to look for the 4. If you've got a 14-inch block, or you want a 7 inches, and so on. Obviously these square rulers come in different sizes. This is a 9.5-inch square ruler which will sort this block out, but you can get a 16.5-inch square ruler or 17-inch ruler for squaring up big blocks for sampler quilts. So for this one, I need a small little ruler, and I want to look at my 3 3/4 because that's half of my finished size. So I'm going to get that 3 3/4 mark, and I'm going to put it down the center of my block. I'm going to make sure that that 3 3/4 line goes through that center seam at the top. I'm going to follow all the way down through the center of the block here and all the way through to the other end, which is quite annoyingly has disappeared under this little QR code here, but I can see that the 3 3/4 mark will be lining up with the bottom of this square here, or this diamond shape here. I can also look at the rest of the ruler to give me some ready reckoners. So I want to make sure that, have I got another line going through the middle? Is this square? Don't get waylaid by, there's always a center section on the ruler, and if your measurement is not focusing on that bit, you want to ignore that, and it can be quite difficult. So I'm concentrating on the 3 3/4 line that's going through the center of my block. So fortunately, because I've been free motioning this little center panel here, I've got all this center of my design here, which I can use for my centering. So let's just get that all lined up. So 3 3/4 through the top seam there, through the center of my flower there, and down at the bottom there. I want to make sure that it's lined up horizontally along the bottom. I can see that's pretty straight there. I've got some lines going nicely through the center there. Can you see there's a line going through? I'm just using these to give me some judgment as to, is this square on my block? If I am comfortable with all of that, is it square along here? Yes, I know I've got a bit of a wobbly edge to the fabric, but I can see that that is lining horizontal there. I've got a nice horizontal line going through the middle, that's important, and I've got my 3 3/4 coming down the center. So if I'm happy with that, I'm going to hold my ruler and I'm going to get rid of this bit on the right here. Okay, so that's that bit straightened up, and now I'm going to do the other side. So I'm going to turn that around. This time I know that my finish size is 7.5. So let's line that up to 7.5. So I've got 7.5 going down this left hand edge here. And again, I want to make sure that I've got some lines going through the center. So if I can't see, I can adjust this ruler. I'm not measuring on this line here. I'm measuring from this left-hand seam, left-hand edge there. I'm going to get a line through the middle. And I'm looking for this line across the center here to get my 7.5 inches down the left, and then a line going across that middle. If it is not really lined up, I can just adjust the block a little bit and just give it a little tug to make sure that I'm on that center, going across the center line, because I'm wanting to get this squared. So I'm looking for right angles now. Is it pretty straight across the top? Yes, I know I'm going to be trimming that off. Is it pretty straight across the bottom? Yes, but I know I'm going to be trimming that off. Can you see that goes a bit wonky there, but I'm going to sort that out in a minute. So it's straight there. I've got a line going through the middle that I'm happy with. And if I'm happy with that, then I can cut up that side. Now you may think, got a bit of a dodge bit there. Now, bearing in mind this is a sample bit, I can, of course, press that triangle out there, but this will disappear in my binding when I put the binding on. So I'm not overly concerned with a little bit of a whisker of wadding showing out, because I can lose that. So I'm going to turn this round, and I'm going to do exactly the same on this side. So we start with our half measurement. So 3 3/4 down that middle section there. This time I've got a nice straight line that I can use across the top there, that I can use to give me a straight line across that cut edge, and I can get my 3 3/4 coming through that middle section there, straight through the middle of my flower. And I can see that it's coming through the bottom there with a little bit of jiggery pokery and adjustment. So if I'm happy with that 3 3/4 down the middle there, then I can cut up the side there, get rid of that bit, and then I'm going to do the same thing, turn that round. So now I put my 7.5 finish size along that left-hand edge, and I got a line, one of the horizontal lines on my ruler along that top cut edge there, and another horizontal line along the bottom edge here. Now I can see here, even with getting these edges straight, it's still a little bit wonky here. Can you see slightly? It's just above the line. So I'm just going to give that little tug and bring it into alignment, because it is fabric, you have been quilting it, it will move. So I'm bringing it into alignment. So don't be scared to manipulate it a little bit and put it where you want it to be, so that it is straight along all 3 sides. So if I'm happy that it's straight there, and it's definitely on 7.5 inches here in my case, then I can get rid of that little piece of wadding there. Okay, so I've squared up my block. I know that is square because when we've done that, if I could put it on the cutting mat, you can see that is completely square to 7.5 inches all the way around there. By the time I've put my binding on that, that'll take it into about 1/4 inch, because I want binding to come in to that point of the diamond scrape, or diamond straight, the diamond shape in the middle here, or the square, whichever way round I put this block. So I know I'm going to put a 1/4 inch binding in that'll finish on the points of this. So that'll cover up this tiny little bit of wadding showing here, but I know once the binding is on, that'll give, if I just put a bit of binding, pretend binding there across the top, you can see that any little bits of wadding are going to disappear into the binding, and nobody will ever know apart from you and me. So I hope that's helped. Obviously there are different square rulers around, as I said, This is a 9.5 inch one. The big ones that you'll want for sampler quilts are this size, so they're 16.5 inches, which tends to be the standard size for your sampler quilts, and then you can use the whole ruler here for squaring up a block. So I hope that's helped. If you've got any questions, please let me know. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.